Behind every child with type 1 diabetes, there's a journey, and this is Amelia's story. Sarah and Mike were a couple who met at college, and after a few dates, quickly fell head over heels for one another. After 3 long years, Mike finally proposed, and after the proposal came the perfect wedding. There was the blushing bride and the grinning groom, and that beautiful wedding was the start of their perfect lives side by side. Sarah and Mike loved to travel, and after a cruise through the Mediterranean and a trip down under, they had some very exciting news to share. They were going to have a baby girl, and those 9 months really did fly by. Before they knew it, it was time, and the beautiful Amelia June had arrived. I believe the saying goes, first we had each other, then we had you. Now we have everything. And that's exactly what the family of 3 had. Little Amelia June was a happy and a healthy baby. She grew up faster than anyone could have imagined. There was one thing for sure. Amelia June was changing the lives of everyone she met. From generations and generations of grandfathers, grandmothers, aunts, and uncles. Even all of Sarah and Mike's friends were touched by the innocence of Amelia June. And as far as first-time parents go, you could say that Sarah and Mike were naturals. They gave her plenty of life experiences. From traveling to California, going to baseball games and the beach, and even some life experiences. Sarah and Mike had it all covered. Of course, there were all the happy times and the sad times. Some a little mischievous, and sometimes when Amelia was a little bit stuck. But as all first-time parents know, the best time of all is nap time. Amelia began to take on the role as our family fashion icon, the queen of silly faces. But mostly as a little girl who was melting the hearts of everybody around her. But not even Wonder Woman could be perfect all the time. There were messes, big messes, sticky chins, birthday cake smears, and cheeky grins. But hey, all this eating, it's tough stuff. But it's nothing that a nice clean bath can't fix. Everything for Sarah, Mike, and Amelia was going so well. Nobody knew that rainy days were looming ahead. Sarah said goodbye to Amelia as she left for her first work trip away from home. Her only concern was that Amelia was going to become Daddy's little girl while she was away from home. Though it was totally normal for Amelia to love sleep, she usually didn't act so sick. Mike didn't take any chances, and he called the doctors right away with her symptoms. Increased thirst, wetting through her diapers, Amelia was extremely fatigued and lethargic. Mike was a bit surprised when the doctor instructed him to get to the emergency room right away. They were then moved to the pediatric intensive care unit, and for 2 days she was monitored and hooked up to the IV. Then they were told the news. Amelia was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Mike was as calm as anybody could ever be when hearing bad news about their child. He called Sarah right away. She insisted on coming home, but he let her know that everything was under control, and there wasn't much now that could be done. They were moved out of intensive care, and Amelia was getting back to her normal self. She continued to do the important things that 2-year-olds have to do, like coloring Hello Kitty. But the news wasn't so easy for Sarah and Mike. Their entire world had been flipped upside down. First, they had to be informed. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease that occurs in children whose pancreas stops producing insulin. That insulin is critical for their survival. Treatment for type 1 diabetes is a lifelong commitment of blood sugar monitoring, insulin, healthy eating, and regular exercise. It may sound simple, but Amelia will be enduring 4 to 5 insulin shots per day and constant blood sugar monitoring. You can see how this diagnosis could flip a family's world upside down. Now Sarah and Mike were faced with a decision. They could back down, throw in the towel. They could say, "Diabetes, you win." But that wouldn't be very fair to little Amelia, now would it? So maybe you're asking, what can we do to help Amelia? The Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation leads research funding for type 1 diabetes and has donated over $1 billion in the last 40 years. JDRF holds the Tour de Keuka, a charity bike ride around the Finger Lakes. My family and I are getting involved this July and want to know if you'll help. If you can donate, even the smallest amount, you're giving hope to children like Amelia to find a cure for type 1 diabetes. If you have a bike and would like to join us, our team is Amelia's Avengers, and it will be awesome. There's no one to blame for type 1 diabetes, but the future is bright for children like Amelia. Let's come together, give what we can, and bring hope for a cure.
Here comes the sun.